The president was right to strike back against Iran. I think we need to continue to hit them hard. We need to keep the embargo in place.
The president and his advisors need to take a step back and use fewer weapons against more significant targets like regime targets or economic targets to actually start moving the needle.
This is what happens when you start a war of choice with no plan and virtually no allies. And unfortunately, America's worse off.
President getting a list of military targets from his top military commanders. The Associated Press writing, U.S. and Iran trade missile barrages as hopes dim for a quick resolution to the 5-month conflict. Following a few days of respite, fears of a wider war have now grown, with renewed fighting threatening to engulf even more countries. Jordan said Thursday it intercepted Iranian missiles for the second consecutive day, while Kuwait said a strike in the northern part of the country killed one person. With that, let's bring in our panel. Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen, Susan Page, Washington bureau chief at USA Today, and Chris Ryan, host of New Hampshire Today with Chris Ryan on WGIR and iHeartRadio. Susan, it does seem like the president's listening to the more escalation part, at least now, as these missile barrages trade back and forth.
Yeah, you know, we know the president's been very interested in finding an exit from this war, which is not helpful to the economy or to the midterm election prospects of Republicans. But that seems to be not the direction we're going. This war is getting wider in the region. We now had the attack on Egypt. We have this effort by Saudi Arabia to form a kind of coalition of countries to provide some defense. And these signs that the U.S. is about to embark on more targets, not fewer, and no signs at all that Iran is about to back down.
You know, Mark, you've written a piece that includes about the strategy and specifically mentioned the vice president, and we'll put it up on the screen here. Here's what has worked. His military chain of command, the Treasury Department. What has failed? The ceasefire and the memorandum of understanding negotiated by Vice President J.D. Vance. By elevating a deal as the definition of victory, Vance has given Iran a veto over America's ability to declare victory. All it has to do is refuse to agree, which it is doing.
No, exactly right. Look, first of all, Iran was waging war against this country for 47 years. Donald Trump is the first of 9 presidents who served during that war to actually fight back. And he deserves enormous success. And he's had enormous success. The military campaign has set back Iran's nuclear program. It's devastated its military. The Treasury Department has done its job. It's imposed crippling sanctions with Operation Economic Fury. CIA has done its job. All the rest. What's failed has been the ceasefire and the MOU, because what we found ourselves in is a strategic cul-de-sac where for months now we have this endless cycle of negotiations interrupted by Iranian violations, interrupted by U.S. retaliation and a return to negotiation, and the cycle goes on. And we've got to get out of it. The Iranians right now are in control of the narrative, because if you define victory as a deal, they get a veto on a deal. They can deny us victory by denying us a deal. So we have to reset the definition of victory as finishing our military campaign, which we brought to the 20-yard line in April and then stopped. So let's bring it into the end zone, finish the military strikes, take out what we were going to do, and then pivot to helping the Iranian people overthrow their regime through not boots on the ground, but the way we did it during the Cold War when we liberated 400 million people.
But, Mark, your piece puts the onus on Vice President Vance. He's obviously not empowered to do that negotiation without the president's blessing.
That is true. The president has been enormously patient. He's given Vice President Vance an opportunity to deliver, and he's failed. Where's the deal? There's no deal. It's been how many months? It's April. The ceasefire was in April. I mean, at some point, and look, what happened this weekend, apparently, according to reports, the president was ready to launch major combat operations again, and then all of a sudden he was told the Iranians are on the phone, they're desperate for a deal. So he pauses, and the response is they attack U.S. troops in Jordan. At some point, we have to take no for an answer and realize that the Iranians are giving us their answer. It's 5 ballistic missiles headed towards Jordan. We have to pivot and have a different definition and a different paradigm of how this war ends.
Chris, in the background here is this effort in Gaza. and figuring out Hamas. Just in the past few minutes, as this show has gone on, the president has put out in Truth Social a pretty lengthy post. In it, he says, today the Board of Peace reached a historic agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas and all other armed groups in Gaza. This is a monumental step toward lasting peace and security. This agreement is a critical step toward Gaza finally being governed by a new Palestinian government that will work closely with the Board of Peace to help the Palestinian people. It goes on, and obviously this is the center of crisis for that region for decades and decades, and actually did disarm. It would be a massive thing. We just don't know if the Hamas side is signed on to this.
Right, Hamas very similar to Iran in that a lot of times things are not exactly what they appear. They may say something, but it is not actually the case. But if, in fact, this is true, this is monumental and hugely significant, for this administration. But it also points to the various complexities within, the Middle East at this point in time. There's so many different individuals, there's so many different groups, so many different factions. And with the United States engaging in Iran, it's opened up Pandora's box. And now the question is, what does come next? As Mark noted, we've hit that cul-de-sac. But at that cul-de-sac, there's not a lot of good options for this administration. And if, in fact, we carry out things from a strategic military standpoint, is that, in fact, going to drive a regime that is so brutal, that is so focused on basically retaining power to the negotiating table when the memorandum of understanding was a great deal for Iran? They're so splintered. There's so many different entities within Iran right now that are claiming the stake to have leadership in a decentralized entity that we don't know who to negotiate with, who to believe, and what's next.
Yeah. Susan, on the other front, in another war, Ukraine seems to be turning the tide as far as what they're able to do inside Russia, how deep they're able to go. Just a little clip from Volodymyr Zelensky in my conversation earlier this week. Does President Trump see his conflict with Iran linked to your war with Russia?
I'm not sure. We didn't speak about it, really.
Do you?
I think yes. Russia gave drones to Iran. Iran used these drones attacking Middle East countries. Then Russia gave satellite images where American bases in the Middle East countries. They gave it? Yes, they gave it.
And you're convinced?
Absolutely.
He also went on to say, Susan, that Russia really wants this to continue in Iran because it helps them take the U.S. eyes off the ball in Ukraine.
Yeah. This is a friendly landscape for Ukraine. Zelensky and Trump famously have not always gotten along so well. They seem to be getting along better now as Ukraine has had this remarkable military feat of holding off the Russian forces and also being able to paint Russia as helping Iran against the United States. I think that bolsters Zelensky's case for weaponry, for arms, for tougher sanctions. So this was I think a better visit that Zelensky had to the United States than he's had in some time with this administration.
And last thing, Mark, I mean, as we head towards the midterms and we see all these polls, and obviously it's way early before November, you see a GDP number that's slowed, and we had Charles talk about that earlier. There are significant warning signs for the GOP.
There are significant warning signs, but I will tell you what will help the GOP in the midterms is a victory in Iran. If we could go back to major combat, finish the job, be done with it by August, and then have a victory that people could say, okay, I paid higher gas prices, but now we've stopped Iran from getting a nuclear weapon and we've won the war, that would be very helpful.
All right, panel.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.